We just got the official reveal trailer for drumroll please, The Outdoor. That's right, a brand new trailer showcasing just how crazy this subfloor actually is just dropped. So let's analyze every little detail and a crazy new entity at the end that we'll be covering later on in the video. You won't want to miss it. Here it is. The first thing we see in the trailer is how to unlock the subfloor, which is something we already knew, but we can still see some changes. For example, right when you open up door 89, you can see the trees have different models. And there's a red one, which we've never seen before. And I'm sure they won't just add a red tree and instead a bunch of other colors that trees are normally. Also, if we pay more attention to these smaller trees, you can see that they're actually animated and blowing in the wind, which is a really small detail, but something really cool that they added. Based off of this, it would make sense that all of the trees have an animation of them blowing in the wind, so that's just a cool little thing that's attention to detail. Also, now the shear box glows yellow like Curious Light, just showing that this is a step that you need to open a subfloor, which are guided by Curious Light. Also, just to point out, something funny I noticed is the fact that they showed the delayed item spawning in the shear box, or not items, but just the little details. Yeah, I just find it funny they showed it in the trailer, but it's really not a big problem at all. Anyways, in the next shot where you open up the big door into the subfloor, it's actually under door 91, meaning you don't actually have to go all the way through the greenhouse just to get there, which I think is a good change because it is one of the hardest parts of the hotel, and having to go through it every time would have gotten a little bit annoying. Then, when the player uses the shears on the vines, it has a new particle effect, which is cool because they used to just disappear and have no animation to it. Which is just a cool visual change, and just adding all the more detail. Like, this is just an example of the attention to detail in this game. It's awesome. Then we go into the door and use the skeleton key on another door, and we finally get into the outdoor. This is the crazy part. And the best look so far of what the whole floor is going to look like. I'll let you watch it first without you having to hear me talk through the whole thing. I know, there's a lot to break down, starting right in the very first frame of, actually the outdoor footage. As you can see, this shot right here looks like it's inside of the greenhouse, meaning we could have some rooms that go from the greenhouse to outside. Also, that's the same big door that had the vines on them that let us get into the outdoor in the first place, meaning we could see a few of those doors in the subfloor itself. And the brick pattern on the floor is the same as another teaser we saw over here. Then there's two windows where you can see outside, and the door opens into this room with the fountain. And there's so much to break down specifically in this shot. And there's a vine hanging down from the doorway, just showing that the vines are part of the subfloor. So front and center, there's a fountain with a brand new entity that we now know are called Kaws. They're sort of bird, crow entities that we don't know what they're going to do, but we can only speculate. Dang it. And we can see 4 lanterns being the only light source, lighting up this room, which is crazy because it's really dark. Near another one of these red trees we talked about earlier, there is a shear box. And there could be shears in there or something else. We don't know, but it could just be sort of like how drawers work in the hotel, or mines, or back door. Anyways though, it could mean that there is vines to cut in the subfloor, which would make a lot of sense because it's a plant. You can also see the big vine that we've seen 2 other places in the game, well, being the courtyard, and also the second Jeff shop in the sewer. And it's gotta be at least somewhat important if we're seeing it twice in the same room and we've seen it before. Some people say it's part of Snare, and I honestly do believe that. And we don't only see the vine twice, but actually 3 times, with the third one being a cut version of the vine sitting on top of the fence. Or the piece on the ground could just be when it cut off and it fell down there, but who knows. Then we can see a gate, which is probably going to be one of our main ways of traversing through the floor. And there's a button that allows it to be opened. Then when we unpause the video, you can see that the 6 Kaws fly away when we get close to them, meaning they could be triggered by sound or movement. And 6 cause, I mean 1 on the light and 5 on this fountain, which are just different spawn points that the cause could be in. Anyway, just like I thought earlier in the video, you can actually see the big pine trees have a wind shaking animation, which is just really cool. The cause fly away and start squawking, and we go over to our next clip, where you can see a pond with cattails, a rock, a bench, and one of our most important things here, a sign with a number and exit. The sign says we are 2,525 meters away from something. Presumably the exit, or that much away from the exit. The little pond is interesting because it could mean that Wade, which is an aquatic monster, could live in there. More lanterns light up the path and a park bench. And you can see in the distance a stone obelisk that we've been seeing in so many other teasers. Far into the distance, when the lightning comes up, you can see a lot more. Like this little stone structure and another stone structure. Then the camera continues to pan and some sort of rumble happens where the camera shakes and a tree falls right into the path of the player. Anyway though, that sign could actually mean way more than what it seems and could actually show how you progress the entire floor, and instead of going through doors, it could be a distance-based travel. Or all the rooms could be ginormous and you won't know how far you are from the exit unless you see these signs. Then the camera switches over to another scene where you can see us going slowly through a gate, where it's opening up and into a cabin area. It's really cool. But first, the gate, you can see that it's actually not numbered, which is even more proof to the distance travel aspect. Then on the ground, you can see 2 or 3 of these little piles of stones with leaves coming out, which we've seen in another teaser and could be a snare type entity. And along the path, you can actually see a cabin that we've seen the inside of in another teaser right here. This just shows what the outside's going to be. It's got a little porch and it's made out of logs. We can probably go inside to loot and just get stuff to help us out or even hide from entities. Then you can see a little hiding closet and in the distance, the silhouette of what almost looks to be another cabin. There's also really faintly and hard to see a non-pine tree, which we haven't seen too much of before. And now we move on to the best shot of the entire teaser with the secret entity that I was telling you about earlier. First of all, you can see quite a few different tree colors, like a yellowish one, the red one, and another off green over here. And looking around, you can actually see that it's a graveyard, which is really interesting and could mean something for the lore. And just the fact that there's a graveyard, there's a pond, there's a path, part of the greenhouse, and even a camp is just showing how varied this floor actually is. There's also 2 little huts or sheds, with the one in the back being from another teaser with the locked door and the pink petal, showing that there could actually be a lot of these scattered around the floor. The other shed is more mysterious though because it has a curious light symbol on the door and we can't actually see what's inside. We can see another one of the signs showing that it's 7,150 meters, this time until the exit. Then arguably the most important thing of the teaser, sitting on this table, there was a hat. And it's the same hat that the groundskeeper wears with his arm holding on to the hat. And as we press play, he picks up the hat and probably puts it on his head. Than the leaked model, probably because that leaked model was years old and they wanted to improve it. Also, now that I think about it, that small shed kind of looks like an outhouse, which would make sense because there's already bathrooms in the floor. And anyway, now we get the title reveal of The Outdoor. That's the name of it. Or actually, The Outdoors with an S, but whatever. And something I just thought was a little bit cool is when the title of the floor is actually getting revealed, you can hear sort of a Curious Light theme, which makes sense because it is a Curious Light driven floor. And it says that it's coming out this summer, which gives us about 2 other months for it to release, and I don't think it's going to take 2 months. It's probably going to come out around the end of this one. And there we go. Full trailer coming out soon. Come to my channel for a breakdown on that when it comes out. That's right, we know so much about the floor soon, and we're still getting a lot more teasers. So, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Have an impeccable day, and goodbye. Also subscribe.